How's it going, guys? What I thought I would do in this video is something a little bit different, something that I've not really done before, and that is basically my EDC, things that I carry every day. And there is a couple of things that I want to point out on this because I do change up my EDC slightly depending on what I'm doing. I'm sure that most of you guys do the same. If you don't, let me know, because I have to say I think it's pretty unique just because type of work I do and everything else, there's always something a little bit different that I've got to carry or that I can't carry. So stick around toward the end of the video and you'll see what firearms I carry. Some of you might already be able to guess. Let me know down in the comments below. But to get started, let's start out with what everybody carries, and that is a billfold. This is one that I picked up during a recent trip to the Smoky Mountains as of the time that I'm recording this video. One of the leather shops down there, I've always carried a leather billfold. That's just me. That's the kind that I like, and you know, that's what I carry. Of course, we always have to have keys. I've got my truck keys, house keys, a couple of different sets depending on which one of my vehicles that I drive, but that's obviously another big option when it comes to carry. Now, when we're starting to get into some of the other stuff, one thing that everybody should carry is a flashlight. I've got a couple different ones that I carry. This is the most recent. This is a Streamlight. This is the new one that they have. I actually did a video on this a while back, so go back and check that out on my channel. And I'll have to say, this is a very good light, a very bright light. And it has that thumb press on the back. And like I say, guys, you can kind of see it there. And I'm not going to shine it towards the camera. Trust me, it is super bright. But I've got this as well as a couple of others that I carry that are very similar to this. And, you know, I really like a bright LED flashlight. You never know when you need something. And I usually carry a couple. And the reason I'm not showing you the other one, it's one of the Olight minis. It's just a little bitty Olight flashlight. And I've had a couple of them, but the problem is I keep losing them. They're so small, I have them in my pocket, and then for some reason when I'm out working or whatever, I tend to lose them. I don't know why or how, but I just do. One thing we can't forget about is a cell phone. Mine is a Galaxy S25 Ultra. I've got it in an OtterBox case. This is, I don't know how many Galaxies I've had. I've had a few of them, and I've always had good luck with them. I think going back to like the S10 or something like that, going back a ways, not every single one over the years, but I have had a few of the Galaxy phones. This is one that I picked up earlier this year, I think. And, you know, there again, guys, if you periodically go through and have your cell phone companies, you know, they compete for your business, sometimes you can get a good deal. And I actually saved some money on my bill and got a new phone, and this was it. So that is another item that is part of my EDC, and it gets used for everything. It gets used for note-taking, gets used for photos, obviously, as well as communicating with people at work, at home. You know, cell phone can be a lifesaver as well. You know, you should have a way to communicate with others around you. Galaxy S25, I'll put a link down here somewhere. That way, if you guys are in the market for a new cell phone, pick one of these up. Now, we're going to keep going, guys, because there's a few other things that do get mixed up. And there's some important points that I want to bring up, especially when we're starting to talk about pocket knives. One of the pocket knives that I've been carrying lately, and I do mix up my EDC carry for my pocket knife, but lately is going to be the Benchmade Freak. This is one that I recently did a video on, an unboxing video. I picked this up over at some friends of ours, their shop, and I really like it. It feels good in my hands. I actually have a few Benchmade knives. I've been carrying this one. Sometimes I'll carry one of my others. I do like Benchmade. I like Microtech. And one thing that I always do whenever I do carry one of these more expensive knives is I do carry one that's always a little bit less expensive, and I do that for a very good purpose. If you're ever out, when you're out doing work or whatever, it's common to have somebody, depending on what you're doing, but somebody might need to borrow a pocket knife. Now, I really don't want to loan out a $200 Benchmade or more, or even a Microtech. Some of those go over $300, and so I don't always carry. I won't carry them alone. Let's just put it that way. I'm always going to carry something that's a little less budget friendly, or I should say, a little more budget friendly, just in case somebody does need to borrow a knife for a quick minute or whatever. And not to say they're bad knives, but I'm just going to show you a couple that I carry. And if you are a member of BattleBox, you're going to get a lot of knives. Use my code, save yourself over on their site off of the monthly subscription. And guys, you're going to get knives regularly. In fact, you're going to get knives like this. And this is a very good knife. This is from Wesson. And it's a very affordable knife. You can pick this up. I'll put a link here on the video to where you could go and pick up one of these knives as well. And it is a good knife. It is one that I have had for a while. It's got a lot of wear on it, or well, I should say it's got a lot of use on it. Another one that I will carry is a Kershaw. And these is another one that I've done some videos on. Very good knife as well. I really like how it feels. Kershaw is a very good knife. You could call it a budget knife, but I call it just a very good knife. There's a difference between what you would call budget, just because something may be considered budget by one person. Doesn't mean it's necessarily budget, but that's just, everybody has their opinion on things. But at the same time, this is a great knife, and I don't really like loaning this one out as well. But again, I don't necessarily carry a pocket full of knives, but I will carry a cheaper knife as well as like one of my Benchmades or Microtech, just because I don't want to necessarily lose one or accidentally loan it out to somebody and forget about it, which I don't really loan out my knives very often. But you never know, when you're out working, somebody needs something real quick and you just hand it to them without thinking. And that's just how sometimes at work, how things go. Now, let's get into a few other things. And when I'm working, there is a couple of differences that I'll carry. Yes, the pocket knives and all that kind of stuff. There's one other thing that I've had, and I've had for years, and that's this pouch. This is from Maxpedition. It's an M2, I believe. I've had it probably for 15 years or so, and it is still going strong. You can see that it's stained up. And you can see I've got an ink pen in it, and this is something that I carry pretty much every day at work for very good reason. I've got a couple of tools in here, things that are common that I need, and I can change things in and out. I can throw a small crescent wrench in here. I don't think I have one in here now, but it is something that I do have on me regularly. Another little flashlight. As you can see here, this is a cheap one that I got. I've got just different things in here, and I've got one thing in here that is very handy and does get a lot of use, and that is my multi-tool. And you probably are not going to be able to see the name on this because, again, I have had this thing for probably 16, 17 years. This is a Victorian multi-tool. I'm sure you guys heard of Swiss Army knives and things like that. Love this thing. It has saved me a lot of steps. It does have a lot of tools on it, and for the type of work I do, it doesn't have everything, but it does have a lot of stuff that can save you a little bit of trip back to the truck, back to the toolbox or whatever. And it's something that I carry regularly. I also got like charging cables and stuff for my phone. I'll keep one of those in there. And again, guys, I have to change this in and out occasionally. This multi-tool, the reason I bought this pouch was because the pouch that this came in just wore out because I have carried this so much. And so I needed something else, and I wanted something that I would be able to get a few other accessories in, and that's why I bought the Maxpedition M2. Not sponsored, although, guys, if anybody from Maxpedition sees this video, give me a shout out. I'd love to talk with you guys. You can see it, guys. It has held up, and like I say, I've had it for probably at least 15 years. Great pouch. Again, wear it just pretty much every day at work. So that is the majority, but not all, of my concealed carry. And you guys know what we're going to talk about now. And that is going to be, what gun do I carry? Again, there is a slight difference depending on what I'm doing. Okay? And the first gun that I want to talk about is my Glock 45. When I'm out and about, out in town or whatever, this is the gun that in most cases I have on me. Again, this is my Glock 45. I have got it with the XS big dot sights. My favorite sights out there. If you guys are followers of my channel, you know that I love XS sights, particularly the big dots. And I keep this gun usually in a Safariland Solus holster. It has the ALS locking system. Now this is an optics cut holster, but I don't use it. I don't use an optic on this. This is not an optic cut gun. Again, give me the XS big dots. I'm happy all day long, you know, as far as a defensive gun. But what I like about this holster is the fact that it is lower cut here. So when I do go to draw, that gun will clear that holster much sooner than some of the others. I've got other Safariland holsters, other manufacturers' holsters. And you know, that having that little extra right there, I think, is a good thing, especially when you go to draw with that. That is one of my defensive weapons. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit because, guys, I know that there are times and places that you cannot necessarily carry a firearm. Unfortunately, there are times when we go into some places, and I'm trying to dig it out of my pocket. That's why I'm, you know, bending around and stuff. There's some places we cannot go with a firearm. I don't like it either. But, you know, that's just unfortunately what we have to do. And in times like that, in places like that, that I can't carry a firearm, I still want something to be able to use to protect myself in the event that something happens. And this is one of those options. And you guys have seen this on my channel before. This is the Benchmade Stock B. This is a great knife, and it is good for self-defense. This is something that it's a fixed blade. Yes, there's different models out there. You can either find some of the more affordable ones on Amazon. I'll try to link some down below for any of you guys that are interested, and there's nothing wrong with them. And in fact, there are times that I will carry one of them as well, you know, instead of this. But this is what I like. I like this as an option that is a go-to option. Plus, again, you never know. You need a knife. Yes, it's a fixed blade, but you can do pretty much anything with this that you could with any other. So that is the majority, but still there's other things that I want to carry. And another thing that I do carry everywhere, and let me get it out of my other pocket, so just bear with me, and that is a tourniquet. You need a tourniquet, guys. You never know when something happened, and you need to have the tools with you, because if you don't have the tools with you, you're going to put yourself at a greater disadvantage. But having something like this with you, a tourniquet, is a great way not only to help yourself in the event of something happening, but in, you know, you could help somebody else, and you never know when that could be. I typically keep a couple of these close by. I usually have one on me. This one here, I've been packing it so long that it's, you know, you can tell it's just been carried. And I keep a couple of them around me. I'll have that one, and then usually in my bag, which if you guys want me to do a video on my EDC bag, what I carry pretty much all the time, let me know down in the comments below, and we may do that for the future. But I always have a tourniquet. Another good thing to have that I do occasionally have, I'm just out of right now, CPR face shields. You never know when you could need to give CPR to somebody, and usually those can go on your keychains. The reason I don't have them, a lot of times in my classes, I give them out to the students. So that's just what I do. Another option, another carry option, and again, let me dig it out, and you guys probably know what this is. And that is my Glock 43X. This is just a cheap leather holster that I have it in. This is a gun that is on me very regularly. There are times when this gun could be my primary. In fact, it is. Just depending on what I'm doing, where I'm at, and all that kind of stuff. You need to be, I guess you could say, something deep concealment. Then something like this works great for me. I am a big fan of Glock. I think that they are a reliable gun. And when it comes down to it, guys, the main thing that you want in anything you're going to be using to protect yourself is reliability. And 80-some% of the world can't be wrong about Glock. So that's me. Again, these are fixed with a set of XS sights. These are the 3-dot tritiums. I've done other videos on those. And a couple of different holsters I have for this. The leather one that you just seen, because this is the one that I had in my pocket. And another one is a Safariland. I'll put a link to it. It's the, whatever you want to call it. I can't even think of the name of it, guys, but I'll put it down here to where you guys can check it out. Another great holster. And, you know, that's something that you want to have on you as some way to protect yourself. And the 43X, it's great. You know, type of ammo, I like Federal HSTs. I think that's good ammo. Hornady, Critical Duty is another great ammo, depending on what you're going for. Critical Duty, I think, is probably a little better in my Glock 45. Critical Defense is going to work a little better in the 43X because I think it's designed for the shorter barrels. But that is typically the majority of what I carry. Now, the only other thing, occasionally when I'm out, yep, spare mag. Got to have a spare mag somewhere, guys. But anyways, that's pretty much the majority of what I carry. And then, like I said, it's kind of mismatched, but that's pretty much everything that I carry. Not all at the same time, not always all at the same time, just because depending on what I'm doing, whether I'm working, whether I'm out doing work on the farm or just whatever, I may not have some things, and then there's things I may add. It just really depends. But guys, that's just something that I would show you guys, something I would just come on here and talk with y'all about, because I know that that's something that a lot of people seem to be interested in, and I've never done a video about mine. So guys, let me know your thoughts about what I've got down in the comments below. What should I add? What should I take away? You let me know. Guys, thanks for watching. Check out the rest of the videos on my channel. Check out all the links down below, and we'll see you next time.